Welcome, everybody, to Bible Bites. I'm Pastor Dan. We are reading through the Bible one small bite at a time. We're going to finish Matthew 26 today. In our previous video, we read that Jesus was captured, arrested by really a mob, and the disciples, his friends, they scattered, which Jesus prophesied would happen. And he said that this would be a fulfillment of Scripture. You can read about that in Zechariah, in the Old Testament, Zechariah chapter 13, verse 7 through 9. But let's go ahead and begin here in verse 57 of Matthew chapter 26. Then those who had seized Jesus led him to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and elders had gathered, and Peter was following him at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And going inside, he sat with the guards to see the end. So Peter didn't really want to be noticed, but he was still curious and was following very much at a distance. It says, now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus. They might put him to death. So this council is the Sanhedrin. There is a greater Sanhedrin which included 71 individuals. There was only one of those. There was also a lesser Sanhedrin that included, I think, 23 rabbi, and those were found in other cities. I think mainly wherever there was a Jewish synagogue in a city, there I think was supposed to be a Sanhedrin of 23. But Matthew's saying that the whole council, he's probably referring to the 71. It doesn't necessarily mean that all 71 members were there, but that there were more than just the 23. It's more than just a lesser Sanhedrin. So, and they're seeking, their intention's pretty clear. They want to put Jesus to death, but they got to find a good charge to bring against him. Verse 60, it says, but they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. So there had to be at least 2 or 3 witnesses whose stories collaborated in order to bring forth a charge. Of course, we see many false witnesses did bring forth a charge, but their story, again, just wasn't collaborating together. But at last 2 came forward and said, this man said, I am able to destroy, they're talking about Jesus, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to rebuild it in 3 days. Of course, Jesus did say this, but he was referring to his own body, not to the physical temple of Herod. He, he says, uh, well, verse 62 here, and the high priest stood up and said, have you no answer to make? What is it these men testify against you? But Jesus remained silent. So Jesus really does not defend himself. And of course, no one really understood Jesus' agenda at this point. Jesus knew he would be going to the cross. So he wasn't making this great defense of himself, though he certainly could have. And the high priest said to him, I adjure you by the living God, tell us if you are the Christ or the Son of God. So they are plainly asking him, are you the Messiah? And Jesus had claimed to be the Messiah, the Son of God. He referred to himself as the Son of Man most often, but was plain with people that he was the Son of God. Jesus said to him, you have said so. So this was Jesus' way of saying, yes, what you said is true. I am the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, but I tell you from now on, you will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven. Jesus, I do not think meant that they would physically see this, though there would certainly be manifestations of it. But Jesus is telling them what would take place, what was to come, and that is that Jesus would sit at the right hand of God after his resurrection. So it says, then the high priest tore his robes and said, he has uttered blasphemy. The high priest clearly understood that Jesus was admitting to being the Messiah, the Son of God. So they said, what further witnesses do we need? You have now heard his blasphemy. Of course, it was only blasphemy if it wasn't true. If it was true, then it's not blasphemy, right? What is your judgment? So the high priest is like asking the Sanhedrin, what is your judgment? They answered him, he deserves death. Then they spit on his face and struck him. Some slapped him, saying, prophesy to us, you Christ. Who is it that struck you? So, wow, the way that they're treating him, did they treat all criminals like this? Well, they probably didn't treat them well. I think they're particularly uh, volatile against Jesus. All right, so let's read about Peter now. It says, Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came up to him and said, Hey, you also are with Jesus the Galilean. So somehow she recognizes him, that he was part of Jesus' entourage, that he was one of Jesus' maybe disciples. But he denied it before all of them, saying, I don't know what you mean. And when he went out to the entrance, so it's like he moves further out, uh, away, right? He's getting a little nervous here. And another servant girl saw him, and she said to the bystanders, Hey, this man was with Jesus of Nazareth. And again, he denied it with an oath, I do not know the man. So he's getting more emphatic. He doesn't even refer to Jesus as Jesus, but simply the man. And then after a little while, bystanders came up and they said to Peter, Certainly you too are one of them, for your accent betrays you. So the Galileans, or that northern part of Israel, apparently they had accent. They pronounced things just a slightly different. Um, and they recognized Peter because of that. And here's Peter's answer. Therefore, he began to invoke a curse on himself and to swear, I do not know the man. So this is as emphatic as you can get. And immediately the rooster crowed, and Peter remembered the saying of Jesus. So Jesus had prophesied that this would happen. Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. And so Peter went out and wept bitterly. Man, his heart was just broke. He realized what he had done and how he betrayed Jesus. There was a repentant heart there. All right, until we get into chapter 27 in our next video, be blessed. See you then.